I know what you're gonna say. Another Korean MMO pay-to-win slop made by NCSoft. Yeah, I get it. After playing the chaos of Chrono Odyssey and seeing every new MMO trailer slap on Unreal Engine 5 like it's seasoning, it's hard not to be skeptical. I literally just made a video on Bella Torres, another upcoming MMO made in UE5, and honestly, I feel like there's a secret competition happening in South Korea right now. It's like all the devs got together and said, let's see who can make the most generic looking fantasy MMO and fast. But hey, more games for me to play. Because like a moth to a flame, I'm going to play any MMO that gets released. Doesn't matter how many red flags are waving. If it's a massively multiplayer online tag on it, I'm already halfway to installing it. There's just something magical about the idea of playing in a world with thousands of other people, raiding, PvP, crafting, just exploring. So yeah, at the risk of being disappointed again, we're going to talk about Aion 2. Let me get one thing straight though. I never played the first Aion game. Maybe I glanced at it years ago, maybe I tried it for a couple of hours and bounced off, I don't really remember. What I do know is that it never hooked me and I never looked back. So just know going into this that I don't have some nostalgic attachment to the first game. That said, NCSoft has described Aion 2 as the true vision they had for the original Aion. According to them, the first game had technical limitations that kept them from building the experience they really wanted. Fair enough. If this sequel is them finally doing what they couldn't back then, I'm curious to see how far they can take it. So the story takes place 200 years after the events of the original game. So if you're a veteran, there will probably be some callbacks of familiar locations, story points, maybe NPCs. Meanwhile, people like me will just smile and nod and pretend we understand the references. Now, let's talk about the races real quick. There are two main races in the original game. For Aion 2, the devs apparently considered merging them into one, but eventually they decided to keep them both. However, they're making the demon race more attractive this time. I'm not sure how ugly the demon race was in the original game, but it must have been very different if they had to mention this change. Here's something interesting though. They're putting the two races on different servers. So rather than having both factions interact on the same world, it sounds like they'll be separated. PvP will still exist, but it'll be handled through a matchmaking and a special dimensional invasion system where you can invade the other race's world. Pretty cool idea, actually. One big change coming to Aion 2 is how flying works. In the original game, flying was kind of limited. You couldn't just fly anywhere, anytime. There were terrain restrictions, zone limitations, and it kind of broke immersion a bit. In Aion 2, they're getting rid of a lot of those restrictions, so we should expect much more freedom of movement in the skies. Although I do hope they do not slap a stamina bar on us. Character creation is getting a pretty big update too. The devs say we'll have nearly 200 customization options. That's a lot of sliders. But please, keep it reasonable. I'm begging you. I don't want to see another gangly purple-skinned human-alien hybrid with arms longer than its legs running around town. It kills immersion. Now, let's talk about classes. We've got 8 confirmed classes, and they cover the usual MMO archetypes. First up, you have the tanks, gladiator, a sub-tank class as lifesteal and focuses on AoE damage. So kind of like a bruiser hybrid tank that can hold aggro but also dish out damage. Then you have the Templar, your classic sword and board main tank, high defense, very traditional role. Probably not flashy, but pretty reliable. Next up, DPS, we'll have Assassin. This one's built around Aion 2's new rear hit detection system. That means positioning will matter and you'll do more damage from behind. If you've played Final Fantasy XIV, you know what it's like. Is it fun? Depends. I'm personally not a fan of having to dance around a boss just to optimize my damage, but some people do love that kind of a gameplay mechanic, so more for them. Ranger, long-range physical DPS, you already know what this one does. Probably bows, maybe crossbows, maybe traps, we'll see. Sorcerer, the big spell new class, giant explosion, high risk, high reward, paper thin armor, but massive damage potential. And then we have the Spirit Master, which is a very interesting class. So they noted specifically that Spirit Master is able to solo certain game content. I wonder how many actual game modes you can actually solo. Can you clear a 4-player dungeon is one of my questions with spirits. Would a Spirit Master trivialize dungeons if you go in with other players on top of the spirits? Will they gimp the Spirit Master within dungeons? I can see this going a lot of different ways, but I just hope they maintain the fun factor while they strive to balance a solo capable class. And finally, we have the support. Cleric, your standard healer, probably comes with a strong heal and basic defensive spells. Chanter, a hybrid healer and buffer, so not as much raw healing, but you get a lot of utility and buffs to help your team perform better. All in all, a decent mix of roles, not revolutionary, but enough to build solid parties around. I do worry though that people will choose Chanter over Cleric because of the buffs, so we'll have to see what kind of buffs we get for the team. We'll see. In terms of PvE content, Aion 2 will feature solo dungeons, 4-player dungeons, 8-player dungeons, and a dynamic field events. The usual stuff you'd find in an MMO. I just hope the dungeons aren't too linear, give us branching paths, secret rooms, optional bosses, anything to keep them from feeling like straight hallways with cutscenes. No mention yet of life skills or professions, but I imagine they'll carry over something similar from the first game, crafting, gathering, that kind of thing. Now, here's where it gets dicey. There will be a mobile version of Aion 2, but before you panic, the devs have said this will be a PC first game, mobile comes second. They're using similar language as Bellator's, which is at least a little reassuring. Also, no auto combat. One of the worst trends in mobile MMOs is having your character play the game for you, so the fact that Aion 2 won't have autoplay is a good sign for people who actually want to, play the game. As for release, this is the part that stings. Aion 2 will launch in November, but only in Korea and possibly Taiwan. That blows. I hate staggered releases for MMOs. Part of the joy of a new MMO is experiencing everything for the first time together. Figuring out how systems work, stumbling into hidden areas, making mistakes. That discovery phase is very magical. But when one region gets the game first, they figure everything out, then when it finally releases globally, all the mystery is gone. Metas have already been created, guides are already made, and you're just following a script instead of exploring. Sure, I could avoid content and spoilers, but realistically, it's gonna be tough. Now, will this game be pay to win? My guess? Probably. People say the first Aion was pay for convenience, but let's be honest, if you can pay money to save time or get ahead of others, that's pay to win in my book. Here's a quick scenario. 2 players are grinding for gear. One spends 3 months farming. The other pays real money and gets it in 1 month. Who wins? The paying player. Every time. So yeah, expect some level of monetization that gives paying players an edge. I just hope it's not too egregious. A small boost here and there is tolerable, but the moment it becomes paid to compete, it's pretty much over. That's all I got. Aion 2 looks like it has potential, but it's hard not to be cautious with a track record like NCSoft. We've been burned before, we'll probably be burned again. Still, I'll be keeping a close eye on this one. I'll make another video once more info comes out. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. See ya.